Hello, Hymn Society. I'm Adam Tice, editor for Congregational Song with GIA Publications. I'm excited to share material from our Unbound project with you today. For the past year, I've been working on a database of hymns that are available for individual download via the GIA website. If you visit giamusic.com/unbound, you can see what I'm talking about. I'll give you a little look at it here. This is what you see when you get to the GIA Unbound website. And we'll explore this a little bit more as we go along today. To follow along with this sectional, you'll need a download that's available in the description here that will give you reprint boxes for each of the pieces we hear. A second way to follow along, if you'd like to purchase all of the pieces in this sectional, they're available in one bundle that will give you the full accompaniments for everything you hear. And that will be discounted greatly over buying each of the pieces individually. So you can also find the link to that for purchase. So you can either follow along for free with the reprint bundle or download the full bundle. Today we're going to focus on new tunes because those make for the most interesting recordings, I think. But of course, we also have pieces available that are set to traditional tunes. In fact, right now, I'm recording this in the beginning of April. I have a carousel set up here of new texts with traditional tunes. These are all tunes, all texts set to Nettleton or Hoofertall or Beach Spring, tunes that are very commonly used in current hymnals that congregations would be able to pick up very quickly. So we have plenty of that type of material, but again, today we're going to focus on material that features new tunes. You'll hear in this sectional pieces by familiar composers like Ben Brody, Mark Miller, Sally Ann Morris, as well as some that are new to the GIA catalog, and I'm excited to share those with you. In addition to GIA composers, we're also really pleased to be sharing material from Hope Publications. That's a fairly recent development and is pretty revolutionary in the world of hymn publishing, that Unbound has become a cooperative effort. So we'll be sharing several pieces from Hope as well. And in the future, we'll be bringing on more material from World Library Publications, WLP. We just don't have that integrated yet in time for this sectional. To start off today, I'd like to share pieces from several of the newer composers to our catalog, starting with composer Lee Dengler. Lee is a longtime friend of mine. He was my professor in college and has been a friend ever since. Several of his pieces appear in the new Mennonite hymnal, as well as various other places. He may be familiar to many of you as a choral composer. He has hundreds of choral octavos published with various composers. But over the years has written a few hymn tunes, and we were really pleased to give those tunes a new home here on Unbound. In addition to individual downloads of Lee's pieces, you'll also be able to find a single packet of the pieces that we have available for download as a group. So you'll have links to that in the description. We're starting off today with Lee's setting of a brand new text by Mel Bringle, In the Rising and the Setting Sun. Those of you who were at the Hymn Society conference a couple of years ago will remember Mel's brilliant plenary on death and dying in hymns, and you will hear echoes of that in this piece. So here is Kate Williams singing In the Rising and the Setting Sun by Lee Dengler and Mary Louise Bringle.
In the rising and the setting sun, we know, in the In the rustle of the autumn leaves we know, in the fall of winter snow, in the spring and summer's budding green we know, they remain with us in God. In the sudden joys we yearn to share, we know, in our spirits ebb and flow, in the empty ache of grieving still we know, they remain with us in God. In the love and faith they planted deep we know, as these gifts take root and grow, in the resurrection and the life we know, they remain with us in God.
Our next two pieces are both settings of texts by Jackie Jones, a name familiar to Hymn Society members. The first is by Zach Stahowski, his setting of The Doors Were Locked, a piece for the season of Easter. You may know if you go to this piece on the Unbound website, you get a 2-for-1. The tune is set both to this text by Jackie and also I Heard the Voice of Jesus Say. This gives congregations the opportunity to sing this great tune year-round. So by the time the second Sunday of Easter comes around, the tune is already familiar and the congregation's ready to sing it. And it pairs beautifully with I Heard the Voice of Jesus Say. That will be followed by a new tune by Bernadette Hoke, a New York area musician acquainted with Jackie's work, who has been setting several of them, and you can find those by searching Bernadette Hoke on the Unbound site.
The doors were locked, the voices hushed, confusion filled the air, when suddenly the risen Christ appeared among them there. Peace be with you, he greeted them. Come see my hands and side. I send you now as I was sent, the Spirit as your guide. Now one was absent from the room, for Thomas was away. When others told what they had seen, his judgment would not sway. Unless I touch his wounded side and feel the marks of nails, unless I see with my own eyes, my skeptic's mind prevails. Another night in that same room, disciples standing by. Peace be with you, Christ said, and then looked Thomas in the eye. Come see the nail marks on my hands. Reach out and touch my side, and to his friend to put his doubts aside. Did Thomas know the world had changed one morning in a tomb? He simply said, "My Lord, my God," within that silent room. Christ did not chide his doubting friend, but offered him instead God's boundless and redemptive grace. "Peace be with you," he said.
I hope you're also planning to join Chris Shelton's sectional, Sing No Empty Alleluias. We're extremely proud of Chris's new collection, and all of those pieces are also available on Unbound. We haven't featured them in this sectional because you have another opportunity to see them there. But I did want to highlight one crossover from that sectional here. And this will be a piece by Bex Gaunt that I want to give you a look at. There we go. Here's what you'll see on Unbound for O Joseph Awaken. If you go to the preview here, you'll see the piece exactly as it appears in Chris's collection. That's what you get when you download from Unbound as well. So you get the scriptural references, the themes, the little written blurb about the piece, the full text set as poetry. And when we have a recording available, you can listen to a sound preview of the recording right on the page. If you click through here, you'll see that you also get a reprint box that you can use in conjunction with your One License account. Composer Bex Gaunt, who you'll see in this video in just a second, is another one of the people we're excited about bringing into the GIA catalog. Search her name on GIA in general. You'll find a few Unbound options, as well as a couple of choral octavos. So this is O Joseph Awaken by Chris Shelton and Bex Gaunt.
Oh, Joseph, awaken, let go of your fear. The Spirit is speaking, believe what you hear. The promise of ages is whispered but clear. A new day is dawning, salvation draws near. God needed a body, hands, feet, eyes, and skin, and Mary's provided the place to begin. She bears our deliverance from shame and from sin. The heartbeat of justice grows stronger within. The way of salvation will always surprise. It creeps past defenses, makes fools of the wise. The sovereign of heaven in infantile guise. Awake but keep dreaming, awake and arise.
In addition to new tunes and new composers, of course, we have some familiar names in our system. We've been working on uploading our back catalog of hymn tune and text collections, and also bringing out the newest pieces by our writers and composers as they become available. Our next piece is a text by Sister Dolores Duffner. This is in 8787D meter, so it can be sung to any number of familiar tunes. We've set it with Marty Hagen's Joyous Light, which you can download with this piece. It's called Count the Stars If You Are Able. I'll read this text for you and you can imagine what tune you'd like to use it with. Count the stars if you are able, so shall your descendants be. Abram trusted in God's promise, glorious future destiny. Count the stars if you are able. Still God's challenge rings today when we know how vast the cosmos, far beyond our Milky Way. Count the stars if you are able. Supernovas, galaxies, swirling planets, constellations, millions, billions more than these. Overwhelmed by cosmic grandeur, beauty none can paint or draw, splendor waking us to wonder we can only stand in awe. Lover God of all creation, blaring forth in that first blaze, help us trust your dream and vision, for you see beyond our gaze. As the stars cannot be counted, so your favors to us shown. Help us trust as Abram trusted in a future yet unknown. sure you can imagine using that in a Lessons and Carols service this coming Advent. We're going to stick to that seasonal theme and move to a couple of pieces by a duo well known to the Hymn Society, Mary Louise Bringle and Sally Ann Morris. The first is This Is Our Longest Night, written specifically with longest night services in mind that often happen around December 21st. And this piece in particular written with the possibility of being sung with interfaith groups. And beautifully recorded by the Calvary Presbyterian Church in Pasadena, California. That will be followed by Sing Now a Song. This is to the familiar Sky Boat Song tune that's become quite popular as the theme tune for the show Outlander. That inspired Sally and Mel to get together on this piece, Sing Now a Song.
The daylight dims as the sun sinks low. One lonely star pierces heaven's height. A chilling wind has begun to blow. This is our longest night. A thousand questions, a thousand sighs, a thousand wrongs trample truth and right. With weary hearts we avert our eyes. This is our longest night. When hope was vast, when all hope seems dead, we keep our watch for returning light. With trust that hangs on the slimmest thread, this is our longest night. The final rays of the sun now gone, more stars appear shining clear and bright. Life's deepest darkness precedes the dawn. This is our longest night. Sing now a song of a child who was born, promise of peace and joy, born to a world of questions and fears, Mary and Joseph's boy. What is that sound waking our hearts, breaking the silent air? Is it a laugh? Is it a cry? Is it an answer the sky, piercing the dark of night. Is it a star? Is it a sign? Is it the dawning light? Sing now a song of a child who was born, promise of peace and joy. Born to a world of questions and fears, Mary and Joseph's boy. What lies ahead, facing this child? Will he know gain or loss? Blessings or blows, wonders or woes, hope or a heavy cross. Sing now a song of a child who was born, promise of peace and joy. Born to a world of questions and fears, Mary and Joseph's boy. Prayers feel unheard, laughter falls still, light's brightest rays grow dim. Yet we sing on, sharing our song, finding new faith in Him. Sing now a song of a child who was born, promise of peace and joy. Born to a world of questions and fears, Mary and Joseph's boy.
That was Kate Williams singing Sing Now a Song by Sally Ann Morris and Mary Louise Bringle. In addition to the Unbound congregational version of the song, you can also find a choral octavo of it on the GIA website. Next up is a piece by Mark Miller, another composer who we're thrilled to bring into the GIA family. He wrote this lament in the wake of the murder of George Floyd a little over a year ago now. He used a refrain that he and I had written for another song and added the verses to it, inspired by the sounds of African American spirituals, as a cry of lament and protest.
My heart is breaking, my fury shaking, my soul is tired, my breath is gone. I cry, how long, Lord, this evil season, unending pain and tears. My heart is breaking, my fury shaking, my soul is tired, my breath is gone. I cry, how long, Lord, this evil season, unending pain and swords of hate. Use our tears to water thirsty ground. Give us courage to love all you create. Come to us and turn your world around. Come to us and turn your world around. Use our anger to melt the swords of hate. Use our tears to water thirsty ground. Give us courage to love all you create. Come to us and turn this world around. Come to us and turn the world around. Our hearts are breaking, our fury shaking, our souls are tired, our breath is gone. We cry, how long, Lord, this evil season, unending pain and tears.
We're thrilled to be able to share with you not only GIA's congregational song material, but pieces from our friends at Hope Publications. Our next three are by Hope writers and composers, Carl Daw, Dan Damon, and Sui Hong Lim. You can come to Unbound to find these, plus several others, and Hope will be uploading many more pieces in the coming months. First up is Carl Daw.
I wrote this hymn because I came across collections of hymns, and I found that in hymns about Holy Week, there tends to be a gap between Palm Sunday and Good Friday. There are not many hymns that deal with the middle of the week. And so I tried to write a hymn that would put that last week of Christ's life more in context and provide a way of understanding Christ perhaps as he was seen in his own day by people who were not necessarily sympathetic to him. And so this is a kind of, especially the way this hymn begins, is almost a sense of being annoyed by what I call that teacher from the provinces. And then it moves through to a deeper and deeper understanding of what is actually involved here. This is the text. That teacher from the provinces could no more be ignored. His followers were numerous. Some even called him Lord. Religious leaders sensed how much his teachings challenged them. They made a plan to drown his voice in thronged Jerusalem. Their court denounced his blasphemy, yet lacked true worldly might. So occupying powers claimed judicial oversight. Unbowed he stood before the judge, whose laws he did not fit, but silently let questions hang and would no crime admit. Then callous soldiers heckled him with taunts mean-spirited, draped him with mocking royal robe, wove thorns to crown his head. They led him out in rude display before a jeering crowd and forced him there to bear a cross while hostile shouts grew loud. Beyond the city's circling wall, the barren skull place stood, and there this former carpenter was stretched on waiting wood. This should have marked the end of things, but all was not complete. This victim would in truth become a victor through defeat.
In recent years, I have been reading books on racism. I was dismayed to learn that the church has promoted racism in this country for centuries. I learned about my white privilege and the need to become an anti-racist. We have all seen the effects of ongoing prejudice and white supremacy during the past few years. Hurtful rhetoric, hate crimes, and other acts of violence against Black and brown people. In response to the Black Lives Matter movement, I began writing hymns that acknowledge this pain. In this text, I am lifting up the obvious truth that Jesus was not white. His brown skin was the common skin of the people of Palestine. It was not his skin color, but his teaching that drew people to him. In the Sermon on the Mount, as presented in Matthew's Gospel, Jesus spoke about God's love and care for all people and for all creation.
His skin was brown, his hair was dark, and lovely were his words. He spoke to those who came to him of lilies and of birds. Consider how the lilies grow, they neither toil nor spin. Yet Solomon with all his wealth was not arrayed like them. His skin was brown, his hair was dark, and lovely were his words. He spoke to those who came to him of lilies and of birds. Consider too the little birds who sing but never sow. Our Maker still provides for them, and so they live and grow. His skin was brown, his hair was dark, and lovely were his words. He spoke to those who came to him of lilies and of birds. If you now seek the way of love, good things will come to you. The touch of grace, the hand of peace, God's help in all you do. His skin was brown, his hair was dark, and lovely were his words. He spoke to those who came to him of lilies and of birds.
Thanks, Adam, for inviting me to share my thoughts about the song Seek Good, Not Evil. This song was composed as a response on hearing that my good friend Graham Moll of the Iona community had passed away. This song celebrates his lifelong pursuit of justice and peacemaking for the church. I believe this text from the book of Amos chapter 5 verse 4 needs to also inform our spiritual practice in light of current concerns about racism and other ills in our society. May we so sing and put into action what we sing. Thank you.
Sing good night, evil, that you may live. Then the Lord will always be with you. Seek good night, evil, that you may live. Then our God will always be near. Seek good night, evil, that you may live.
In addition to individual downloads of pieces, we are also making bundles available. Since we have all of these pieces already searchable and findable, it's quite easy for us to put them together sometimes. So by theme or by composer, I mentioned earlier, there's a Lee Dengler bundle already available. We've done seasonal bundles like for Lent and for Holy Week. And what you see here is a bundle for songs written in the midst of pandemic. It's interesting to think about what we'll look back on in the future from this year that was marked by quarantine and the absence of congregational song. I think scholars are going to have an interesting time looking through materials produced during that year. And we realized that several of our writers and composers were actually being rather productive during this period, especially at the very beginning, reflecting on the loss and the absence of communal singing, which there's, of course, some irony to that. But as we've all become familiar with, the possibilities of sharing new music via video led to the creation of some interesting things. So we put together a packet of 10 pieces by some of our familiar composers and writers. And this was the first place where we included a Hope Publishing piece. We included Carl Dawes' All Shall Be Well in God's Appointed Time here. I'll give you a quick look through this bundle as well. We'll hear this piece by Dave Bjorlin and Mark Miller in just a moment. As usual, you get the reprint boxes in addition to the full score of the pieces. Here's one by Dave Bjorlin and Ben Brody. I encourage you to check out this bundle. We have a couple of pieces in here by John Bell. There's a Dolores Duffner text. This is a piece that I wrote with Bex Gaunt right at the beginning of lockdown. And then one from Chris Shelton. Here's a Jackie Jones psalm paraphrase of Psalm 57. And then we'll also hear this song in just a moment. This is another one that I wrote, and Sally Morris was gracious enough to write out the piano accompaniment for me. And it's recorded by Kate Williams. Here's another John Bell piece. So that's 10 brand new pieces, and you can get that for a $12 download, which which is a substantial savings over buying them each individually. So first up, we have After the Flood by Dave Bjorlund and Mark Miller, followed by My, Oh My Soul.
After the flood, what can remain but shattered homes and lasting pain? The ground is wrecked by rubble and blood as wastelands widen after the flood. Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie tender shoots spring up from the mud as life emerges after the flood. Kyrie eleison, Christe repairs are planned, the helpers come to lend a hand, and beauty blossoms out from the bud as God renews us after the flood.
I hope you've enjoyed this little preview of the Unbound platform. You've just experienced the tip of the iceberg. We have thousands of pieces available for download. You can peruse them at giamusic.com/unbound. Material from GIA, Hope, and soon WLP as well. I also want to point you to the GIA soundboard, which is a place where we share all kinds of blog posts, information, interviews, videos. You can see here, here's a post that we did just recently about that We Will Meet Again bundle. So I put out a YouTube video featuring an interview with Carl Daw and with Bex Gaunt about their pieces included in that bundle. So we've posted that here, and it includes links to the bundle itself down below. So if you subscribe to the GIA soundboard, you can get all kinds of updates like this to find out what's going on Unbound. In addition to the pieces you've seen, we're also working on expanding our offerings. Coming soon, we'll have a small bundle of material by Carlos Colon in both Spanish and English, many of those drawn from the Santo, Santo, Santo hymnal. And we're also working on 2 little bundles of pieces by arranger Valeria Foster. You can find her name in the One Lord, One Faith, One Baptism hymnal, in addition to the African American Heritage hymnal. And she's done many fine arrangements of African American spirituals and gospel songs. So we'll be making those available soon. Watch for those. We'll close today with one last piece. This is Ben Brody's For Distant Clouds, with the text by Martin Lekebusch. Thanks for joining me.
For distant clouds that drift across the sky, for birds that wheel in flight above the trees, for flower petals dancing on the wind, and for your spirit's whisper on the breeze, for holy breath and water, fire and word, for all that shows your love, we thank you, Lord. For ocean currents and cascading waves, for health and hope your gifts of water bring, for waterfalls that tumble, rush and splash, and for your spirit's never failing springs, for holy breath and water, fire and word, for all that shows your love, we thank you, Lord. For sunlight crimson, sunset blazing blue, for hidden depths where lava boils and churns, for lamplight home we welcome clean and warm, and for your spirit's flame that touch that burns, for holy breath and water, fire and word, for all that shows your love, we thank you, Lord. For words of power that challenge and inspire, for wisdom's jewels with insights old and new, for kindness in a friend's familiar voice, and for your spirit's prompting sharp and true, for holy breath and water, fire and word, shows your love.